Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, it's 9:02. That's my time, even though I say 9 o'clock. And I was almost on time. But I had to run downstairs and I'm trying another location today. But I had to run downstairs and get my information off of my computer, from my print machine. So there I am. I'm here. How are you doing? How are you doing? Today I thought I'd wear some pink for you and fuchsia kind of color to kind of brighten up your Wednesday since this is Hump Wednesday. Hope you're already enjoying your day, your morning. I've decided that today is going to be a good day, regardless of whatever comes my way. It's still going to be a good day. But today's word is so simple. It is just so simple. Today's word is turn. I just have had to make a turn for a few things recently. And I said, you know what? That's just a good word because sometimes we have to know when it's time to make a turn, a change, an alteration, a transition. We have to realize that sometimes we have to move where we're not sure that we need to move to, but we need to move only because where we're at is complacent. We become, stuck, and that's my thing. Are you stuck? I always ask that same information all the time. Are you stuck? We're always stuck. We're going to be stuck with the good, the bad, the ugly, the weird, whatever, even all of I'm just so sick of ads on TV. And I'm not a big TV watcher, but TV has just become my background noise. But when the background noise raises up every time there is a commercial on, and the commercial is, political or medical or, trying to sell you something, it's just really frustrating. But anyway, I am going to still have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday, hoping you're going to do the same and join me. So today I wanted to start off, since this is Women History Month, I wanted to start off with talking about a few women in history that really turned up, their areas of their specialty and became dominant, renowned, always remembered, kind of etched in memory for a short period of time when you're going through a historical process. So this morning I wanted to bring, to you some of the women in history that have absolutely said, wow, they did all of that. And the first one I have is Cleopatra, born in 69 BC. Okay. Wow, that's before Christ. That's you're talking that the years of the world's existence as it is written pretty much says that's a long time ago. Okay. And it says, but she was the last pharaoh of ancient Egypt, and she wasn't a man, she was a woman. And they said she was a bad woman. She was a woman with distinction, and how she was regal in terms of her appearance, her attire. And they said even in her commands, she commanded attention. So that's our first woman I'm talking about today. My second woman is Hypatia, and she was born between 1835 and between 355, excuse me, 355 and 370. And it says that she was considered to be the greatest mathematician and astronomer of her time. See, when we think about math and science and all those kinds of things, we don't always associate women with them. A lot of times when we're thinking of math and science and even currently technology, it's more men that become known for those kinds of things than women. So, she was obviously ahead of her time. Here's another one. Ada Lovelace, born in 1815 to 1852, is when she passed. She was an English mathematician and writer. And they said she was like an analytical machine, almost like that human computer. that we spoke of the other day, from the women of NASA through those who became famous, Johnson and Vaughn and them, through Hidden Figures. So you just think about that. That's like, wow, 1815 to 1852. And it was over 100 years later when NASA used the human computers to get to where they wanted to go to in space. Good morning, Erica. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you in the space. Good to see you. So anyway, I got a few more. I have one more I'm going to go through. These are just women, and I mean, before I leave this month, I want to talk about some local women that have really just kind of shown me the what they have, what they possess, what they give away in terms of service, in terms of exhibiting great thought, words, history. It's here. It's here in the area where I live in too. Last person I have is Marie Curie, born in 1867 and died in 1934. And she was the first woman to ever win a Nobel Peace Prize. In fact, she and her husband won Nobel Peace Prizes as a couple. But she was also a professor at the University of Paris, and the first one to ever have a mobile unit doing x-rays. I mean, we talking 1867, 1934. So you think about that in the 1900s. Here she was doing her thing with x-rays. I have some other ones, but I'll bring them later in the week because I want to make sure that we, just contribute something to women's history and what we have done through the years. Today, our word is turn. And how many of us have turned to make a decision that we're going to do some things? It may be that we're going to write a book, or we're going to, head up a new organization that we've created. It may be that we're going to run for office. Those are turns, but they're not little turns. Those are major turns. And sometimes in our lives, we have to make major turns. We do. We make a decision that we need to turn. And so I ask myself, and I ask you, what is a turn? Well, according to Webster, it says a turn is to move in a circular direction, wholly or partly around an axis or point. It's basically to move. It's to move something, or it's to move yourself, move you or others. And it says it's usually going in a different direction or relation to its surroundings or its in previous position. That's what turn is. It means that I might be here today and tomorrow I might be over there. So I've made a turn. Or I might be working in this area today and next week I'm working in a totally another area. A turn. We've made a turn. So a turn is a go around, a resolve, a revolving area, a rotate, a spin. It could be even as little as a gyrate. It could be a negotiating thing. It could be, one where something is just swiveled. They swivel it around, or a circle, a roll. So, it's so many words that are descriptions and synonyms of turn. So we know what turn is. But when we break the word down, what's the turn mean to you? How many of you have ever made a turn and you realize you went in the wrong direction? Or you turned and it was the best direction. You wonder why you hadn't turned that way before. There's many people who have said that that's happened to them, where they've actually turned and found, just, a new view that's got so much more for them, more opportunity, more care, more love, more whatever. But it's out there, but they had to turn to find it. Because, like sometimes if you turn one way, there's just a wall. Like that's when I grew up in New York. One of the things I remember, and I never wanted to live like that, which is to have a house so close to mine that I could hear everything they were saying and doing. I didn't want that, so probably until I get into a nursing home, and probably by that time I'll be cussing. I'm not interested in anybody being right up on me. I don't want it. It's just not my It's not my way. It's not my way of feeling that I have room to turn. But I just remember that as a child, everything was, there were a lot of us. We lived in a flat in New York, and there was just a lot of people in limited space. So I like to have a lot of space and limited people. That's just me. So when I turn, I'm not touching anything or anyone. That's what I want. So anyway, turn for me, when I break the word down, and I'll ask you, are you stuck every once in a while on which turn you should make? I am. I am. So when we start with our T of turn, the T is for transition, which is the process of a period of changing from one state or condition to another. That's what happens. We just realize that we need to change something. Something needs to change. We don't know how we're going to do it. We sometimes know why we need to make a turn, but we don't know. We don't know when we're going to do it until we're faced with it. We're faced with it. It's like when we drive in cars. Good morning, Deb. How are you, my friend? Good to see you in the space. Good to see you. Good to see you. Timelines. Oh yeah, that's good. And Debbie, our word today is turn. Simple word. To me, a lot of requirement in it. Simple word. When we talk about turning, we have to make an idea of which way to go. How far is it to where we need to get to? What's it take for us to even to make the turn? Are we too tightly in where we're at? Task. Oh, that's good. Y'all always come up with some good words. Timeliness and task. Both are very, very good. So I said transition. So for me, transition is change. I knew I have to make a change. I have to. Timing, yes, that's good too. But I said change, to move, a transformation. Okay. It says also a conversion, looking at what it was before and converting it into something else. That's a change. A shift, realizing that I need to shift from where I'm at to where I need to go to, a turnaround. What you say? I hate those turnarounds. Deb, we're starting to get them down here. And every time I go to New York, I get all twisted around, especially out in Colony, in that area where they got them all over the place. And I'm saying, but I need to go over there. And I get twisted up on which way the road turns. There it is. That turnaround is a good one. That is really good. So it also says in transition, it's a shift and it's a transfiguration, meaning you've gone from one thing to something else. Okay. But the realization in the turn is that you knew you need to take it. Some people are turned by others. Y'all know it. Love will turn you. Hate will turn you. A question will turn you. A reason will turn you. A season will turn you. There's a lot of the reasons why we end up where we are to where we're going to. Turn around. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. All of those. Okay. My you today is unwind. When we turn, we are unwinding from wherever we were coiled up to. Oh, trouble is good too. Wow. Come on now. That's really good. Unwind for me says I must undo something. I must. I have to figure out how to do it. Unbelievable. That's good. Unwind. It says, unwind says undo or be undone after winding or being wound. Sometimes we're wound up. Unbothered. Oh, I love that. Unbothered. Meaning. Unbothered. Meaning I'm getting ready to make this turn. I'm getting ready to go here. Any of us who have a GPS knows that sometimes that her or him that's giving those directions is not right. And sometimes it's annoying because a few times it's taken me to areas where it was a dead end. And I said, well, they claimed it was updated because it's supposed to be updated on a regular basis because it's one of them smart cars. So to me, a smart car needs to get their smart directions. So don't have me turning, in the middle of the street talking about. Now, the one I heard yesterday was when possible and in a safe opportunity, make a U-turn. Why'd you bring me this way in the first place? There you go. Undermine. That's good. That's good. Understand. So anyway, it says to be to unwind is to loosen, to unravel something, to unfurl it, untwist it, unwrap it, separate. And a lot of times when we think about separating anything, we have trouble, especially if we love it, if we care about it, if we believe in it, if we trust it, all of those things, all of those wonderful synonyms, we're there. You know, those, it puts us in a situation where we say, unveil. Oh, that's good. Because sometimes when we have seen things be unveiled, it makes us know we have to turn. We have to turn. Ooh, ubiquitous. Ubiquitous will allow you to be present. Look, something flipped across my screen and covered up that statement. When you make a necessary turn and shift. Yeah, that's good. That is good. Yes, good. Ubiquitous. How many of us have had those experiences? Yes, absolutely. You know, when I know I have, when I have to, this wasn't the right thing to do. But a lot of times we must admit that we're human, so we're gonna do some things that we shouldn't have done, and then we got to turn around. So when we move on in the word of turn, my R is for rotate. And you know, everybody knows when even in your arm you have a rotator cuff. So people who mess it up find themselves where their arm is stuck. They can't make it turn. It will not turn. They can't go high. They can't turn it this way and that way, move it up and back. So reroute. Ooh, that's good right there. Reroute. Ooh, y'all are in it today. And right. That's right. All of those are just good. Rotate, to move or cause to move in a circle or around the axis or a center. That's what we do when we move our arms. But it's also what we do when we might be, say we're going to walk to the end of our street. We walk, well, we got to rotate to come back. We have to turn, have to make that turn to come back. Refreshing. Oh, that's good. How many of us need to be refreshed on a regular? You know, it just is, it makes sense that we need to be refreshed regularly. Retake, yes. We have to retake some things in order to realize that it was necessary to redo, to turn and turn again. We need to redo it again. And then when we do something like a rotate, it says that's when we realize that we've evolved. We are going around something. We are going to take a spin. We're going to twirl. Now, I'm not good at twirling. I always wanted to be a cheerleader because it seemed like they could twirl, you know, their fingers around it. My fingers were nimble enough, but I just never learned it. I learned a little bit of it, but not enough to say that I would ever be. And I was too chunky to be on anybody's cheer team. And to me, they turned too much, you know, because they would turn to the front and the back and the side, and then they'd jump up on each other and throw the person in the air, turn them around. No, couldn't be me. It couldn't be me. So anyway, also with turn, it talks about how when we're going to rotate around, we're going to pivot. It says also there's a pirouette, you know, in ballet, pirouette. And it says you could also take a whirl. So there's a twirl, a whirl, a swirl, a switzel, and a circle. All of them mean the same thing, turning around. Just turn around, turn. And sometimes it might be continuously turning, you know. To me, our lives, you know, aren't, you know, that kind of thing where we need to turn, and turn. But we need to turn when necessary. That's what we need to do. We need to make sure that we paid attention to where we are and where we need to get to. And sometimes where we need to get to is behind us. You got to turn. Or even if it's ahead of us, but it's over to the left or to the right, we still have to turn left or right. So to me, all of this kind of makes sense, on how we look at our lives and whether or not we're looking at them in a way that says every once in a while we must change some things. And it's difficult. And, I just think about where we are as a country in America here. That's sometimes those things are tough. How do we manage? How do we constantly, do the go shopping, come home, put up everything, but there's a lot of turns in all of that. We've made a lot of turns, but it's life. It is our lives. And my last N for turn today is negotiate. We negotiate everything we do. Even if we don't look at it in that term, we do. It says, because we're going to find, which is the definition, find a way over and through an obstacle, to make a path. That's what we do. Navigate. That's good. That's good, Debbie. Navigate. But when we are actually negotiating something, we're really looking at what path will I take? How am I going to get there? Okay. I think I was someplace yesterday and there were a lot of, police cars and different things out there. And I said, well, and I get, I was able to see far enough up the road to say, that means I'm going to be stopped. So I found another route. I turned. I found another way to get where I needed to go and put on notice. That's good. That's right. So sometimes we need to be put on notice that we're going, or we need to pay attention to what we're seeing. So negotiate talks about getting around something, passing it, getting over it. I got stopped at a train one night and I didn't know it was the long train, but my girlfriend and I were coming from an event and I dropped her off in her development. And then I live about 20 minutes from her. So I'm just playing my jazz and driving along and I get stuck on Olive Road at there's a four-way, actually a two-way stop for the train. Well, I'm thinking that the train won't be but a minute. Well, I couldn't, and I was too close up to turn around. I was like the second car in a line. Well, we ended up being there probably about a good 35 minutes. So finally my friend called. She said, "Are you home yet?" I said, "Girl, no, I'm still in the line to get over the train track." So sometimes a good route would be nice if you can get out. I couldn't get out. The cars were too close to each other because everybody else thought. I think initially everybody thought that it was just going to be short, but it wasn't. It wasn't. So finding a new route, we sometimes have to negotiate it. So we're going to get past it, make an arrangement on how it's going to work. Sometimes we might even have to work it out, where we say, well, maybe if I inch back, inch forward, this is what I would think about doing. And I said, well, no, my car is kind of new. I don't need anybody to hit me or me to hit anybody. It's too late in the night. But sometimes we have to look at what it is we're doing, where we're at. And this could be in our lives. It could be in the current situation we're in. Do we need to make a turn? And if we do, we need to be nimble. Yes, Debbie, we need to be nimble. We need to be able to look at how flexible are we to make a move. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes, as I said, we might be stuck in place. But to me, once I'm stuck in place, and I sometimes have to figure out, well, if this happens again, and I see that, I'm going to turn around before I even get up this far. I'm just going to, because nobody was coming on in the other side going the opposite direction. So I could have turned, but I didn't think about it until it was too late. But listen, I want you all to consider your turns for today, whatever turn it's going to be. If it's a good turn, make it. Even if it's a bad turn, meaning bad of where you're moving from, then it's a good turn. Okay, because sometimes we have to do that. Love that color on you, Sandy. You look marvelous. Oh, thank you, Deb. Girl, did you see the note I put on Facebook about to Dwight? that out of all of us that all work together, we all worked together for years in New York State for Department of Transportation. And we worked there and had great times. And all of us, with the exception of a friend of ours up in Buffalo, is still in New York. I mean, we all moved to Florida. All of us moved to Florida. And all separately. I mean, we didn't tell each other. We didn't know. It's just once we discovered everyone's whereabouts, we're like, what? You're in Florida too? We're all in Florida. But listen, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Consider your turns. If you don't do anything else, hit that share button and let this be shared to others to know that there's somebody out there just trying to say, are you stuck? And I try to help them get out of it. Okay. I see you all soon. Love you guys. See you on Friday. Thanks. Bye-bye.